Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Now, one of the big announcements that came in from this year's budget was on REITs, or Real Estate Investment Trust. The country's largest listed developer, DLF, might launch its first REIT over the next 6 months. That's the word coming in from the CEO of DLF, Rajeev Talwar. Is this going to bring in stability to funding the real estate sector? In fact, we caught up with the man himself, Rajeev Talwar, and asked him if DLF is going to take the lead, if they would launch 2 REITs like they had planned earlier. Listen into what he had to say.
We would definitely be the first ones for the infusion of funds. The first stage while forming a REIT is to form an SPV in which the owner of the asset as well as the investor into the asset, it can be an Indian institution, it can be a foreign institution, they form an SPV, and then the SPV decides when to go to the market and get the best returns. So I think in the first 2 quarters of the coming financial year, in the next 6 months, we should see the formation of an SPV, and then both the owners as well as the investors and the large ones, especially the large ones, will decide when to go in for a REIT. We were planning to launch 2 REITs, something of 3,000 to 4,000 crores each, but the infusion of funds coming in right now, which we are planning, is, as we've announced in the analyst conference, is much greater. It should be anywhere between 10 to 14,000 crores. So I think that should give a very good signal for India as well as for DLF. It's going to include, it's going to be on the commercial leased out assets. They're looking out for leased as well as completed assets. So since we have a large portfolio in the commercial office segment, perhaps that may be the first. Actually, we've announced and gone public that yes, in one of the firms, DLF Commercial Developers, we have a cyber city in it and some other retail portfolios. I think for all of this, the owners of DLF owned 40% in their own capacity, besides 60% being held by DLF. I think they've already taken a decision to divest that 40% by the owners, and then seeing the rules and regulations into place, awaiting all the permissions. Perhaps that will be used for partly paying off the debt which DLF has, and thereby forming the ground for an SPV to a very large extent. I think this is a huge game changer for the real estate sector, because funds which come in, they release your locked up funds into assets which are already in completed assets, and by releasing these funds, they are made available for future developments.
Alright, Rajeev Talwar of DLF there telling us that they are looking to launch an SPV, or a special purpose vehicle, over the next 6 months. However, with the government's new move, DLF is not the only company vying to launch the first REIT. There are other players in the industry as well. For instance, Blackstone, in a joint venture with Embassy Office Parks, is looking to launch a $2 billion REIT very soon. When asked about whether this would happen soon, both companies declined to comment. Other players include RMZ Corp, K. Raheja Corp, and Panchsheel Realty. DLF is of course the front runner, looking to launch an SPV over the next 6 months. Needless to say, we on Magic Bricks now will continue to track this very closely and bring you regular updates.